Hi there everyone and welcome back to my channel. Now today for Opera Omnia I wanted to take an opportunity to use the most recent EX challenge, which is Leon Hearts, in order to give a quick guide on basic team composition for a lot of people who don't necessarily know who they should be taking with the characters that they're taking, which characters work best with others, etc, etc. And I wanted to use the Leon EX as an example of why I chose certain characters to take, etc, and how you should build your teams. If you want to watch the Leon EX being done without my commentary, then there's that video as well, and I shall leave a link to that in the description box below. But if you want to learn more about team composition and the specifics as to who goes with what, etc, then stay tuned and keep on watching. Now before we get started, I did want to ask you guys if you actually really enjoyed the idea of team composition videos, and I really was thinking about doing specific team spotlights, as in certain characters that go really well with others, using those teams in order to clear certain content, and I thought it would be a really good fun thing for people who like certain characters that maybe don't see the spotlight all that often. So let me know in the comments below if you like that, and don't forget to check out all the social links in the description box below, including my Discord channel where we have loads of people coming together to talk about Opera Omnia, the trading card game, all sorts of Final Fantasy related stuff, my Twitch channel where I stream a lot of Opera Omnia as events come out, and my Patreon for those of you who want to support my channel further. So without further ado, we'll have the Leon EX showing on the side, and I'll talk you guys through some of the ideas of team composition. Now it's important to note that there is no set rules for team composition. Using the correct characters for the specific situation that is set by the content you're trying to do is usually the best way in order to kind of clear as much content as you can. However, not all of us have every character in the game and every weapon in the game, etc. So I wanted to go over some general guidelines that will help you choose who you want to use and why they're good. Now the first thing I want to talk about is synergy characters, which kind of sounds obvious, but for most events synergy characters exist. So for example with Leon's EX, Leon is a synergy character. And they should often be your priority choice for your team for those events if you happen to have the kits to use them. If you only just have their stuff, or if you only got the 15 CP from the event, then it's kind of like a last minute choice. But if you have the stuff for them, they have boosted stats, and the events themselves tend to lean towards being weaker against certain characters. Like for example in this one, Leon being able to inflict sap on the boss is really useful, and the fact that he uses dark damage makes him stronger against certain parts of the fight. It's also important to recognise your own strengths and not use subpar versions of characters that you just don't have the stuff for just because you've seen someone else use them. Using characters that you have full kits for, EXs, or whoever you happen to have the stuff for is really important, because if you try and go in with somebody that doesn't have the stuff, then they're not going to be able to be used to their full potential, and they're just not going to work as well as you want them to. So if you happen to have an EX for someone that maybe you haven't seen, try them out, you might be surprised. Researching the event itself is usually very helpful because it allows you to learn the patterns of what the bosses or the enemies that you're trying to face are going to do. It might help you learn what other people are doing. If you just want to clear the content quickly, then learning how other people have done it by either watching videos like this one or other content creators, checking out the Reddit subreddit for Opera Omnia and seeing how other people have done that. Basically just doing a little bit of research into how the event works, how you're going to do it. That will also help you clear the content as well. But honestly, for me at least, it's more fun to kind of go in blind and learn as you go, and I honestly quite like doing that. But as I said, if you want to clear the content as efficiently as possible, then that's definitely something I would recommend doing. Your summon is actually something that's very important to your team composition as well, and I think it's something a lot of people kind of gloss over. We all know that Ifrit and Bahamut are very good if you want raw damage, but if you're leaking a lot of bravery because you're hitting your bravery limits really quickly and you're doing loads of damage but you're not getting the maximum potential, brothers might be worth considering. The elemental weakness of the boss is also worth considering when it comes to choosing your summon. So for example, this one is weak against dark and ice. So while I've taken Ifrit for this because I just wanted raw power, Shiva might have been worth considering as well. If you want the summon just to be as fast as possible, which is usually the preferable choice when it comes to co-op events, then Sylph and Chocobo are usually your best bets. When picking the specifics of your teammates, it's important to consider the roles of the teammates you're picking. Is the character you're thinking of a DPS, a support, a bravery battery, a launcher, a tank? There's all sorts of different roles that they could be. Are you trying to beat the high score for the event just so that you can get all of the rewards for it? Or do you just kind of want to clear the event and get just the basic rewards of it and move on? In the event of trying to get the high scores, tanks aren't usually very useful at this point in time in the game, as while they aid immensely in survivability, they're not the quickest characters in the game. They don't tend to dish out damage and recover bravery at the same time or anything like that. They're just very good at staying or keeping your party alive so that you can clear things, which means that you're not going to clear the event as quickly, and also means that your score is going to be lower. So if you're trying to clear the event quickly and just get the maximum score that you can, then tanks maybe not be the best bet for you. In a similar vein, launchers can actually be very, very powerful at getting a high score. Characters like Cecil or Cloud or Lael can instigate launches very, very quickly, which means that you can get essentially free turns of damage, because the turns that you have launches, the launch itself doesn't count towards your turn count. So getting bravery attacks in, or HP attacks in, preferably, because the best time to instigate a launch attack is when everyone already has high bravery. So you can just go HP attack, HP attack, HP attack, one after the other, and those kind of add together, and then a multiplier is added on top of them by being a launch attack. So if you can get those going as well, then those will aid you in getting your score very, very quickly. Now the next thing to bear in mind is the number of buffs that your characters provide to themselves or your party, and therefore how it spreads across your party. It's important to know that all characters in Opera Omnia have a maximum of 6 buffs or debuffs that they can have, so trying to apply more to them will overwrite earlier ones that were applied. Framed buffs such as the Continent's Finest from Beatrix or Selfie's Wall will kind of be the last ones to get knocked off, so it's very difficult to knock those off unless you somehow have 6 framed buffs or debuffs, so bear that in mind as well. Invisible buffs such as Selfie's Life of Trabia or Noctis's Will of the Prince, which are applied through passives, don't add to that count as well, and they aid your party with an invisible buff that you can't see, so having those in your party might actually be that extra little push that you need to get that high score. And then the last thing I want to talk about before I go into this event in specifically is your friend unit. Your friend unit has to tie into your team composition somehow. Are you wanting a duplicate effect or character so that you're getting a push? Some people like to use double squall, like a squall in their party and a squall in their friend unit, so that they're getting all the Renzakukens all day, every day. Or do you want a different character to cover a base that you don't already have covered? A lot of people are using Cecil as their friend unit at the moment, so that they can have a launcher on tap who gets that launch by doing an HP attack, so that you can therefore use something like Selfie, Kate Sith and Cecil, both of which like raise your bravery exponentially, and then it all just gets spent in one go. And during like a Bahamut summon or something, your damage output is absolutely insane. I will be doing a guide on fully on friend units, like how to set up your best friend unit, what friend units you should be looking for, etc. in another video. So if you want to hear more about that, then stay tuned, and I will definitely, hopefully bring that to you. definitely be bringing that to you as soon as I can. So going into the specifics of this event, and as I said earlier, if you want to watch this without any commentary or anything, then there is a link in the description box for that as well. But for Leon EX in particular, I took Beatrix, who is an incredibly strong DPS unit with defensive support capabilities, Kate Sith, who supplies huge amounts of bravery to the party and also provides offensive buffs to the party as well, and Leon, who is a synergy character that I happen to have his full kit for. I actually pulled his 35 in a single ticket, which is really lucky for me. I've never had anything like that before. And although I haven't MLB'd him, you might notice as well, he's actually only 2 LB'd, because I thought, well, I have a surplus of power, so I might as well use them. And therefore he functions as my primary DPS thanks to his AoE capabilities through the 3rd round, and you know, if once my friend unit had run out, then it means that I can go off. And having dark damage available during the 3rd and 5th rounds, or the boss round, is very, very helpful because they're weak to it. And then I took Squall as a friend unit to easily clear the smaller waves. Like, honestly, you'll see that, or you will have seen, that I summoned Squall instantly, just so that I could clear the early waves in a single turn. And that basically is just aiding my score to get higher and higher, so that I can spend more turns on the boss and concentrate on the stuff that's actually difficult. And then I took Ifrit as my summon because I wanted just raw damage. Now, you'll notice that if you've ever used Beatrix or Kate Sith, that those two actually look like they might grind together, because they kind of go against what I said earlier, and they apply too many buffs to you. Where Beatrix will supply 2 through Saintcloth and 1 through Thunderblade, sorry, I couldn't think of the word there, and then Kate Sith will supply a lot more, which means that they start knocking each other off. However, it's quite easy not to use Saintcloth, certainly at the beginning of the fight, because I changed Beatrix for Squall instantly, and therefore I don't have to worry about Beatrix at all, but her Thunder Slash and Clim Hazard attacks are so powerful that I don't have to worry about it. Though I do actually use Saintcloth in this fight, purely to counter a certain move in Saint Spear that the boss does, because it can do really, really large amounts of damage if you're not prepared for it, and can insta-kill one of your characters. So what I did is I used Saintcloth, and then the turn immediately after it, used Mog Dance, which will reapply all of the offensive buffs, so that they can then fall back off again. All the defensive ones that I don't want from Beatrix's Saintcloth just fall back off again. So it goes to show that while there are sort of like guidelines and stuff when it comes to team composition. There are no rules set in stone, and the things that you can think are wrong with your team, you can counteract with just playing well. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope that you've enjoyed the video itself and you've enjoyed watching the Leon EX being cleared, and I hope that perhaps that you guys have learned something that maybe you didn't know before about team composition. As I've said earlier in the video, if you want anything particularly from my videos to do with Opera Omnia, like team compositions, in particular spotlights for certain characters, or if you just want me to start uploading more EX clears and things like that, then let me know in the comments below, and let me know what your favourite team compositions are as well. I'd love to hear from you guys. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel and check out all the social links in the description box below, and stay tuned for more Opera Omnia content, trading card game content, and all sorts of Final Fantasy goodness. Thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!